Hi guys, I'm Lael.
And I'm Courtney.
And welcome to our new All the Drama podcast, where two best friends talk about
Korean,
Japanese,
Thai,
and Chinese dramas. So sit back and listen while we rant and ramble about the scenes that made us cry, laugh, and squeal with excitement.
Now, girl, tell me all the drama.
Hey, so we're just going to get right into it because, as you know, we ended up in part 1, but apparently we learned some new information. So as you all heard in part 1, we were kind of discussing the age difference, the age gap, because to be honest, it's all over the place in this drama. Like, I had a hard time figuring out these age dramas. So we Googled and we got some information. So there is a 5-year age gap between Jijir and Jiayu, okay? The funny thing is, though, is, as we mentioned before, they always make him seem so much older than he is supposed to be.
And they make her seem so much younger than what she's supposed to be.
And I think what ended up killing, like, me in terms of, like, seeing this on the screen was, one, they actually changed the actress when she's supposed to be 14 to look like she's 14, but they kept him the same, which kind of, I think, mentally messed me up on their ages. But two, I don't think they completely translated the book into the drama very well, because apparently in the book, because there is a book of this drama series, there's a 7-year age gap between them in the book.
And that makes so much more sense to me. When you told me that, literally everything just clicked into place. Because I remember, I don't know if I said it when we were recording yesterday, but I remember I was telling you that it would make more sense to me if there was like an 8-year age gap. That's what I kept picturing, was something along the lines of 8 or even like a 9-year age gap. And so the fact that it's actually 7 in the book makes a lot more sense. And I really, really wish they would have stuck with that.
Yeah, or at least translated it better into the drama to make it fit more of a 5-year than a 7-year. I don't know if we kept this part in the previous podcast that we did, but I remember me saying that I swear to God I thought he was 26 at one point. And I'm like, that makes no sense with the timeline. Well, I went back and I watched the parts that I was like, where did I see it? When they're in the car. So this is when her brother finds out, I believe. So episode 20, my bad. In episode 20, they're in the car and he says something along the lines of, why would a 26-year-old want to date her, right? And that's the English translation, right? And so I was like, okay, he's 26. That's an age. Apparently, after reading Reddit posts, I find out that according to some girl, the translation was a little bit off. Apparently, that was meant to be like a joking, like, haha, like, why would an older, like, 25, 26-year-old be into her, rather than him actually being 26. Does that make sense?
Yes, because I was so adamant that I'm like, no, I remember I purposely wanted to get the ages down for this because I always get confused by them. And then you were so gun-ho being like, no, I know for a fact he's 26. So it makes it makes all the sense.
So we've got the ages right. So now we're jumping right back into it.
And just to reconfirm, he is not 26. That was just a joke that was not translated correctly. When we come to this moment, she's now 18. He's 5 years older, so that would make him 23 or 24. So like 23. I think she's turning 19 and he's going to be turning 24.
Okay, so there's a 2-year time jump and they haven't spoken. You find out that he tried to keep in contact with her and she cut him off completely. And he really didn't have any idea why. She ends up going to Ige University, as she stated in her dreams before. You know, Courtney mentioned that she kind of changed her dreams to meet more her expectations.
She took her original dreams that revolved around him and then made them revolve around herself instead.
Yes. Yeah. So, in any case, you know, we think she subconsciously really wants to reunite with him because she picked the same place that he's in, but she says she doesn't have any plans of reuniting with him. And we realize that Fate has other plans.
Oh boy, doesn't have other plans. So Zizha is out one night partying with some friends at a karaoke joint, where she accidentally runs into the one and only Duan Jiayu. She stepped outside to get some air when she was with her friends, and that's when she runs into him. So I personally love this scene because I just love how the look she has. She gets completely frozen in complete shock when she sees him. Um, and after a little back and forth between them, he starts firing off these like rapid questions at her, which I think he's doing in this scene because he wants to catch her off guard. I feel like it's made pretty clear to us that he knows she's been purposely ghosting him. He just doesn't know why. And so he's firing off these questions to try to trip her up and get some type of truth out of her. He doesn't want her to think about an answer, you know?
Right. Yeah, no. This won't be the first time he plays this method with her.
No.
But yeah, no, he tries to get an answer out of her and she really doesn't have one, you know?
Basically, no, because she's not going to tell him the truth, which is the fact that she's ghosting him, or she ghosted him. So she's just making up some random stuff. One of them was like, he's like, oh, so like, when was your military training? When did it end? And she's like, oh, it ended last month. And he goes, oh, so around this holiday. Well, why didn't you come visit me over the holiday? And she goes, because I had school. And he smirks and goes, you had school on the holiday? And she goes, no. I mean, I had work. I was working a part-time job. He goes, oh, you were working a part-time job and you were just too busy. He's like, if I recall, when I had a part-time job, I was also juggling, visiting, going and visiting your teacher for you and teaching and helping you with your homework.
All I know is he guilt tripped her, and I feel that this payback for when she was a child, and she guilt tripped him into going to see her teacher for him.
Oh my gosh, totally. I didn't even put that together, but you're right. Like, it's the roles are completely reversed.
I know. I think he just wanted that little bit of payback.
Oh, and I loved it. Like it was like he made it very clear.
So teasing.
He's willing to pour on the guilt in order to work his way back in her life. And I love it, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, we do. So basically, this whole thing is they just re-meet. You know, he's going to make sure that she's not going to disappear again from his life, essentially. Yep. And now that he knows where school she goes to and things like that, and how they're kind of the only people they know in this area, you know? Like, her parents know in this area is him, so they're probably going to see much more of each other. So now they're back into each other's lives.
Oh, yeah. And we see that, so he starts texting her again, and the guilt tripping works. She starts responding to him, but there's definitely some tension and awkwardness that wasn't there before. And we see a couple of scenes together where they're not clicking back together like I think he was expecting them to. And so that's why this next scene, in the hospital scene, is one of my favorite scenes, because we see how in this scene with him getting sick, how the worry of him getting sick kind of tramples over all the awkwardness and just destroys it. But I do feel like this is an important turning point for them, as the hospital scene is also, I feel like, the first time he sees her as more than just a kid.
Yeah, here's the thing. I think, I hate saying it like this, but he sees that she's all grown now, and I know that sounds disgusting. It's a phrase I don't like, but it's true. She's an adult now. She's not just a child anymore. But I also think this is one of the first scenes where he realized how caring she is to him. And for someone who's never really had that, as you see, like, his past, his mom died when she was young, his dad's in a coma, no one's ever worried about him like that since his mother died, essentially. And in this scene, you see her with such just tender and care in her eyes, making sure he's cared for and taken care of. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of sad to see, but it's also, this is the start of something here.
Yeah. A new light. He literally sees her in a new light. I and I think we're going to talk about it more in a bit, but I feel like he would have never been able to see her more as something more if that 2 year distance hadn't occurred.
Yeah, I also think that a lot of people are taking it out of proportion because I've seen a lot of people like hate the age gap when they were younger, and a lot of them think that it's grooming and it's like
not at all
pedophilia. And I'm like, guys, I don't know if you watch the same drama here, but one, he wasn't around her that often.
Mm-mm.
Okay, the scenes we saw with him was like maybe 10, 15 scenes all in all, and we're talking about like from 14 to 16 in 2
and
years.
He literally treated her like his little sister,
a child.
Like he was sweet. Right? Like there is. I have to disagree with that. I have seen comments like that, but this is where context comes into play. Like, yes, this is a love story, but that love did not happen until they reunited 2 years later, when she's in university. Right. Prior to that, it was strictly platonic on his end. And with her, I would say more of a hero worship than anything. And puppy love. Exactly. And that's normal. That is normal for young girls to have, puppy love with older guys. And
right, but like the thing is he also wasn't around her that often because like they say it's like, he met her when she was 14. How could he love somebody he met when she was 14? He met her all of 10 times when she was 14? That's not watching someone grow up.
That's true. Actually, when she was 14, he only met her the one time. The one single time.
Right.
And then when she was 16, then he saw her a handful more times. He did see her quite a bit with the tutoring. But mind you, there was never once any creepiness on his end. He didn't groom her.
True.
He didn't treat her any different than how my brother's friends would treat me. My brother's friends and my cousin's friends. Right. There was no grooming. There was no puppy love on his end with a little child. It was strictly platonic and sweet. And I do think that this series did a great job in portraying young puppy love turning into something more.
Right. So, right.
But moving on to some of our favorite scenes. After the hospital scene, I would say one of my next favorite scenes is what we call the girl fight scene in episode 11.
Okay. This is what I mean. This is what I mean when I said that this girl is both cute and like strong at the same time. Because so Jiayu and Jijir are out eating, and Psycho Girl, we're gonna lovingly dub her, sees them out, having dinner, and she goes crazy. She goes like, "Why haven't you called me?" Yada yada yada, and then she takes like the cup of water and throws it on Jiayu, to which my homegirl Jijir, without hesitation, because she knows him and she knows that he would have done nothing to warrant that type of treatment, takes her cup of water, throws it right back at that bitch. I loved it. I love this scene.
So did I. I especially love it because we get to see, as you just mentioned with the hospital scene, that protective side of Zhuzhe over Jiayu.
Yes.
I feel like we always see in dramas how the main male lead is protective over a female, but we never really get to see where the female is protective over the male. And I love it. I love just how badass she is, and I also love how in awe Jiayu is of her in this moment. As you said, it's made very clear to us that he hasn't had someone in his life to be protective over him, to take care of him in a long time. He's had a fight against this chick for all these years on his own, always hearing about how he owes her his life for the choices that his dad made. There hasn't been anyone fighting for him in his corner until now. And this is where we start to clearly see that he's also developing feelings for her. The way he looks at her as she's taking care of him outside, like dabbing him with his scarf and wrapping it around his neck. I literally felt like we were watching this man fall in love in this moment.
Yes, I agree 100% because also here I see her as a grown up here. Like before she was 18 and she's grown up, but I still think she's kind of a kid. And this is where I see her be mature. This is where I see her be, standing up for someone she loves and adores. And this isn't the only scene she does this in. She does this in another one of my absolutely favorite scenes. We'll discuss that later.
She's finally on equal footing with him. She can be an equal standing partner.
In a way, yes. They are on equal footing in that sense because, like, there will always be a power dynamic. He is established. He's out of school. He's got money.
I mean,
but the thing is, like, she also has money.
Exactly. She's also has money. She can take care of herself and of him. Like she goes out of her way in many scenes in the drama to show him how she can stand next to him.
An equal partner.
Yeah.
So. But then she would get these cute little scenes where she's still kind of you're that 19-year-old when she gets drunk. Okay. So, moving on to the next scene when she gets drunk. Before we talk about the cute scene, because there's such a cute scene, can we discuss how, okay, so there's another guy that's into her, right? And he's trying so hard. Hard. And she's really not giving him the time of day. Like, it's kind of obvious.
All. She's completely oblivious. Homie sings her a song. And she walks away. She walks away from him. And you see, he's performing this on stage, and it's a love song to her. And she gets up to go use the bathroom. During the middle, and as he's watching her get up, like his face, I'm like, oh honey,
that hurt me. That hurt me because he just straight up got rejected. Like I wasn't even rooting for him, but that hurt me
so hard. And so the fact that it was completely unintentional on her end and completely oblivious is just freaking hilarious.
She had no idea, none at all.
But moving on from that. That scene goes into, it's kind of one and the same because this is happening and taking place as she's getting drunk and she's getting more and more drunk because she keeps drinking these hard drinks. So if you want to go into that a bit.
Yeah. So she's getting drunk with her friends at the bar. She rejects the other guy singing. She goes to the bathroom and then Jiayu calls her.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So I think this is the cutest scene in the entire series. Seriously. We see that, like you said, she's at a bar, Zhao Yu calls her, and he can tell within seconds that she's drunk off her ass. So he gets her to tell him the name of the bar she's at, and he heads right over to pick her up and take her home. He doesn't even hesitate. When he arrives, he sees Zhezhe squatting on the ground with some guy, the guy that we were just talking about. He's hovering over her, trying to help her.
That got rejected. Yeah. The guy that got rejected.
But all Jiayu sees is some guy hovering over her. So he quickly walks over and pulls the guy away from Zhezhe. And while looking so casual and cool and looking like a complete badass, he says to the guy, "What you doing?" And then she looks up at him. And she looks so completely adorable doing so. And calls him Gaga. So this scene, this image of her looking up at the camera, and she just looks so cute and adorable, and then goes Gaga. Like it's just adorable. And it's here where her friend recognizes him as her so-called brother, and he introduces himself. And I just love how Jiayu just completely dismisses this guy. And he says, he basically goes, "Oh, it's nice to meet you, but I'm here now, so you can go." And we can totally see how annoyed Wang Jiayu is by this guy's very presence. And I think it's very totally clear because he's jealous.
Oh, 100% he's jealous. He does not like her drinking with anyone else besides him because he just can't really trust her with anybody. So basically he ends up trying to take her home. I understand her feelings with this when she wakes up the next morning, but she ends up puking on him at some point. Look, if I puked on a guy that I liked, I would get on a train and you would never see me again. I would destroy my phone.
He
destroy
definitely
all the
would never
evidence.
see me again.
And he takes it in stride. He does not get annoyed or pissed off. He's just like, all right, you know, I'll carry you on my back now. Let's do this. And she's just in her drunk ramblings, just saying everything and anything she wants to say. She even like she starts crying because she's flat chested, and he's just like, yeah, you're fine. It's not a bad thing to be flat chested. You know? And he's just, the way he looks at her as she's being so kind of like
adorable.
Okay.
But the fact is, like, he doesn't get irritated with her antics or even show the slightest annoyance when she throws up on him. He's literally like the greenest walking flag.
Right.
No, the entire time with her ramblings and puking on him and just being very difficult.
Yeah.
He's just looking at her like he's holding back laughter, looking at her like he's just like with just complete adoration in his eyes, and you can just see how whipped this guy is for her.
Right. So he's walking her to his car right now, right?
Yep. So they're walking. He's walking her and eventually gets her to his car. And then he proceeds to take her home. And as he's taking her home, we go into another one of my favorite scenes. Which I know, like, every scene is my favorite scene.
Yeah, you...
This was for me. I melted. I completely fell in love with this confession car scene. The car confession takes place where he just carried her to the car, and now he pulls up in front of her dorm. And we just had this heartfelt confession where she basically broke all of our hearts talking about this guy that she likes that doesn't like her and how completely heartbroken she is. And it made him really upset. And he doesn't know it's about him at all. But as he pulls up, he turns the car off and he sits back and he just stares at her for a few seconds. And she's completely passed out. But he's just sitting there and he's staring at her. And we can see and tell from his face how upset he is. And it wasn't necessarily the fact that she liked someone that he was upset with. At least I don't think so. I think it was the more fact that she is in so much pain over this unrequited love. And so he's staring at the passed out Zsa, and he says so softly to her, "What if I become like the guy you like, and I'm only nice to Zsa alone? And that way, our Sonja wouldn't be so sad." Let me tell you, I melted. I melted. Because this is the first time where he admits out loud to himself that he's not okay with the idea of another guy taking care of her. It doesn't put his mind at ease at all. He doesn't trust anyone with her. And he then says to her that if she doesn't say anything, he's going to take that as a yes to his proposal to date. And of course she doesn't say anything because she's passed out. And I just love this moment because it's so cute and it's so soft and sweet and vulnerable. And again, it's just that moment where he finally admits out loud that he does have feelings for her.
Yeah, no, I kind of love that he realizes that he has feelings without knowing that she has feelings for him.
Right, exactly.
You know? Like, usually sometimes people will be like, I like you, and then they'll fall for the person because they like them. I love how their feelings grew independently of each other. Like, they wasn't influenced by each other.
Yeah.
Not only does he realize his feelings, this brings us into our next scene. That's kind of one of my favorite scenes. And as we mentioned before, in the friend group, they actually talk to each other. You know, they're actually friends. And before we get into the friend's wedding, because there's a really cute scene there, we need to talk about the adorable conversation that Jia Yu has with Qian Fei, one of his friends. And they're like just at a little cafe or whatever, and they're talking, and he's just like, yeah, this girl that I like, you know, says she likes somebody else. And he's just like, and mind you, Qian Fei is now married or is engaged. So he's like, I'm the love expert. Tell me exactly what she said. So Jayu tells him, she said this, this, and this about this guy. And Chanfei's like, isn't that you?
I loved it.
He's like, no. He's like, yeah, it kind of is, bro. It kind of is.
Thought it was hilarious. I thought it was hilarious. And so after that conversation takes place, he starts to really sit back and think about everything, and he starts to realize that maybe he is actually this guy that Zhezhi has a crush on. And once he realizes that there's even the slightest chance of this being a possibility, he dives right in and goes all in. And what I mean by that is this wedding scene we get where
again, he decided and he does.
And what do we love in a man?
We
love a decisive man.
Decisive man here. We have said it in every single freaking podcast we have had.
He shows up to his friend's wedding knowing that she was going to attend and decides that this is where he's going to find out once and for all if this crushes him. And so the very first thing he does when he shows up in front of her is he purposely adjusts the tie he's wearing, and he showing it off a bit. And she sees that it's the tie that she gifted him way back when. And so once he catches her staring at him, he smirks. It's just such a cute moment. And then everyone in their little group gets kind of situated, and they sit at the table. And as everyone gets seated, you have Zhezhi sitting at one seat, and then it goes Zhezhi, her brother, and then Jayu. And so her brother is sitting between the two of them. And you can literally see the moment when Jayu comes up with his plan on getting Zhezhi to sit next to him. As you can see this...
his little smirk.
Yeah, this whole mischievous look kind of fall upon his face. And this is my favorite scene. Like, I know I've said, like, oh, this is another favorite. This is hands down my favorite scene of the series. Because he starts purposely messing with her brother by calling him Guga, which means darling brother. It's something that a sister will call a brother, but not a brother calling a brother.
Right.
And her brother gets so disgusted, and so does the rest of the males in the friend group. And he gets so annoyed because Jayu won't stop calling him Guga. And it gets to the point where he actually forces his sister to change seats with him. And now she's forced to sit next to Jayu. And let me tell you, I could not stop laughing at the look of satisfaction on this man's face when he realized he won his little battle with her brother.
Oh my God, yes. It was so calculated, and I love it. So, on a side note, I don't know if you know this, but Guga does mean older brother in Chinese. And it's typically what females will call their older brother, never what males call males. Right. It's the same way with oppa in Korean.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's why he was so disgusted. But no, she starts sitting next to him, and he just starts hammering her again with questions to trip her up like he did when they reunited. And so, oh my God, I love that he teases her. Did you notice, like, he purposely, like, gets closer to her?
Oh, yeah.
And leans into her.
Making her...
and asks her questions.
He's throwing her off her game. He wants to make her... What's the word? It's not...
He wants her to tell the truth because she won't think of a lie.
He wants her flustered.
Yeah. He wants her to falter.
Yeah.
And then he realizes that she's not really being entirely truthful, which means she's hiding something, and she doesn't want him to know. And then he realizes, it's more solidified. I think my friend might be right. And so like they're talking, whatever, and then she's like, okay, I have to get home. It's getting late, and the little brother and the big brother wants to stay out more, right? So, Jayu was like, I'll take you home. It's fine, because he doesn't drink. If you notice throughout the whole drama, because of what happened with his dad, he does not drink any alcohol at all. He's never had any alcohol in his hand. So he takes her home. But, okay, so I love the two things about this scene. One, he takes a liberty and just starts calling her by her nickname, because he finds out that she has a nickname. He's like, why haven't I heard this before?
He has. That's the thing. So what I love about this moment is that he makes her spell it out plain as day what that nickname means and the type of people who call her it. And he makes her say out loud that that is a family nickname, that only people that are close to her call her that. And so I love that he sets it up that way. So when he does just start calling her by the nickname out of the blue, there can't be any misunderstandings as to why he's calling her that, you know?
And he also solidifies that fact because then in the next like couple sentences, he's just like, she's like, I'm sorry to burden you, yada, yada, yada. And he's like, if it was anyone else, it would be troublesome. But for you, it's not. But for you, it's not.
I know. And her face, like the way she just, it completely took her back. Like, oh, he is laying the Riz on so thick, and he's doing so good.
It's the groundwork. But you know what the thing that gets me through the whole drama is he makes these little declarations. Actually, they both do. They make these little declarations that pierce my heart with like giddiness and happiness, but they sound so completely normal and natural, and it's just like a for sure thing. And I love that. Like, just to have somebody just be like, yeah, you're the light of my world, like in such a sure fire voice and tone that makes me never doubt.
Like, it's an everyday thing. And I kind of, there's something about that where like coming to you and just telling you as normal as it is to say, you know, the sky is blue. It's as normal and as just normal to say you're my entire world. I don't know. There's something so poetic and beautiful about that.
And actually, that brings us into the next scene of the confession scene. So he doesn't even tell her I like her in this scene, but he just is like, yeah, can I pursue you? Set up the scene, Courtney. Set up the scene for me.
We have where it's her birthday, and my homeboy went above and beyond to plan like the literal perfect night to celebrate her birthday. Even getting 2 cakes for her. One that he made himself and one that he had made professionally that she could actually take pictures with in case his turned out ugly. And I mean, like, what guy would even think of that? He makes this day so incredibly special and beautiful for her. And just a side note, it makes me love this character all the more. And it's here on the rooftop after they've had this little magical moment together where he asks if he can pursue her. And like you said, it's just so romantic to have, you know, just the fact, not that he asked to be with her, but to pursue her. Mm-hmm. And he's doing so because he wants her to experience all the romance of being pursued by a guy. Because, as he says to her, this will likely be the only relationship she ever has.
I love the confidence.
I know, right? And so he's doing all this because he wants to make sure she has zero regrets choosing to be with him. And also, so she knows, again, that there's zero doubt of how much he cares for her.
But I also love that in this scene, like, as I said, we keep saying that he pursued her. Because in this moment, he still doesn't know for sure if he's the person she likes. Like, he has an inkling, and he thinks, but until she says, yes, you are the person that I've liked for a long time, there's still like a little doubt in his mind. So he's just like, you know, I could be that person, but you know what? If I pursue her, I can make her fall for me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. This is just what it is, you know?
He's not planning to ever let her go. Like, once he has her, he's not planning on ever letting her go.
And this is where I love her as well. Because, like, again, she's loved him. She had the puppy love. She gave that up, and now it's kind of maturing love, right? And we see that here. You see that those feelings come all back. What I love about her is even though she likes him, and right at this moment, she has everything she's ever wanted. You know what I mean? She's like, yeah, you can pursue me. I don't know if I'll fall for you, but you can try. And she's not going to give him. She's going to make him chase him.
I know. I love it.
And I love that. I love that so much.
She's going to make him work for it. I love it.
Yes, and I just love the fact that she's like, she likes him and she could have him, but she's like, no, you're gonna have to work for it.
Yeah, and then he does, and then even on to that, I also just love how they portray this relationship in general, because I noticed that this drama, it portrays some real struggles that real people face with juggling time and also juggling full-time careers in school. And I kind of love how it portrays having to juggle all that, and also, you know, these two characters having to juggle all that in their lives, as well as taking the time to really enjoy the courting phase in their relationship. And also kind of the respect that they also have for one another as well.
I agree 100% because, you know, we still have to remember this is Dramaland. Mm-hmm. So it's not going to be that realistic. But I do like the realistic elements that they try to put in here. Because we see, you know, after he just confessed that he was going to pursue her, he ends up canceling several dates after that because he had to work late and things like that. And that happens. And she has more free time than he does because she's just in school. But she understands. And
that's what I mean. Like, I feel like in a lot of dramas, it just doesn't show the balancing act.
The little things. Yeah, I get that. Because, like, and then we see him put an effort to show up to a seminar which he doesn't know anything about just to spend more time with her. And the thing is they communicate. Mm-hmm. Like, she tells him she's upset. He's like, I will do better. And then tries to do better and shows her he's going to do better. And, you know, this is all before they kind of, I think, officially decide to date. And even after they start dating, they're so clear in their wants and needs with each other. Like, for example, in episode 18, when they start getting a little bit, you know, frisky on the bed, she pushes him away, and you can see in his face that he's kind of hurt. But she then explains why.
That communication, I thought that communication was so beautiful.
I do too, and this is where, like, and it's not just this scene too. He tells her things. He tells her about his past because it makes for less miscommunication down the line. And that's what a real relationship does. Like, you want the other person to know about you, no matter how embarrassing and crappy it is. You know, that's what a relationship is building on.
Period.
You know? And you see this in other dramas where they just is like, no, I don't want her to see that side of me. No, I don't want her to know this. No, she doesn't need to know
then
this.
Then you're not going to last. That's not real. It's not, you're not portraying a real part of who you are. And honestly, when they say that communication is key to relationships working, it's the truth. Like, and not just
communication and understanding.
Yeah, and not just romantic relationships. I mean, look at our friendship group. We've been friends for half of our lives already at this point.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like we have such a strong friendship group because we made sure early on when we were like about 18, 19, I remember all of us sitting down together and being like, we have to have open communication to, you know, because we were going through, side note, we were going through some difficulties in our friend group, and the three of us sat down together and were like, this isn't too important to like not take care of. And so moving forward, if we do have issues, we have to communicate. And I truly believe that is why we're still friends. And not only just friends, but such great friends to this day.
Yeah.
And I have that with pretty much everyone in my life that I'm still close to, is because of that communication work.
Right. And I love that we see that in this drama.
Exactly.
Like, they show us scenes of them getting to know each other, because like sometimes half the time in dramas we see them falling in love with each other, but we never see what makes them fall for each other. It's always kind of just like, oh, I love the way he does this, or you see him do some random act of kindness and you're like, oh my god, he's such a kind person, but you never see them talk.
Exactly. And
I think that's where you get the feelings.
Exactly. And like, so many of these dramas want us to buy into this deep, beautiful, meaningful love, and you don't get that just by meeting someone, you know? Like, you get that.
It's not at first sight.
Exactly. And we watch this drama is a perfect drama of seeing how there can be feelings, but those deep, meaningful feelings, those feelings develop through time and communication.
You know, they're still in the courting phase, which I kind of like how they have like a little courting phase, like before they automatically become girlfriend, boyfriend, and you see them on the courting phase.
I know.
And then we pull up to his birthday.
I know. So episode 17. We just in the last episode, or the episode before that, we saw her and her birthday. Now we get his birthday. And also their first kiss. So it's just so much sweeter to see how she cares for him, because it's like we've mentioned, it's clear that he hasn't had someone care about him in a while, at least not since his mom died. So he's definitely not used to someone wanting to celebrate him, wanting to take care and pamper him. And I just love how enthralled he is by her actions. You can see on his facial expressions alone just how touched he is by her actions. And after she says yes to being his girlfriend, we get the first kiss, which did not disappoint. It was the sweetest, the softest, the most perfect first kiss. And I love the fact that we see him get so nervous and flustered after kissing her. And that he also, I love that he confesses that it's his first kiss and basically first time caring about someone else, like romantically. Basically, it's sweet, it's adorable. I loved every second of it.
Yeah, because he never really had time to give to somebody else. So it makes sense on why he, didn't have that. But the kiss was so heartwarming. It was so heartfelt because she said she wants him in her future. And again, she says this so naturally. And he needs someone like that so bad in his life that just is so, like, sure of herself and him, you know? And you're right, the kiss was so cute. It was so simple and not over the top. And it was still innocence. There was like an innocent side to it, you know what I'm saying? Besides the first kiss, I think the one thing that I absolutely love in this little scene is actually before they get to the restaurant, her brother calls him to wish him a happy birthday in the car scene, and he completely outs his sister in the phone call with, he's just like, she likes this postgraduate student and yada yada yada, and she's like, brother, shut the fuck up right now. I died in that scene for a little bit because I'm just like, goddamn. So I think that's the scene that they made it official, like their boyfriend, girlfriend, they're together. And so we get some scenes where they're just being kind of domestic, honestly. They go on dates, she brings him lunch, yada yada yada. Then we move into episode 20, so about 3 episodes later, and this psycho girl comes back. This girl has the audacity to try to come back and start something with Ginger after she was told to stay away. Like, he got a restraining order, didn't he?
He threatened to.
Oh, he threatened to. Okay, he threatened to, right? And she tries so hard to hurt Ginger, to make her break up with him, to tell her things. And this is why I said communication is important, because he already told her those things. It wasn't shocking to her because she knew. Yep. And I have a feeling if he didn't tell her those things, she would have probably been more hurt, and honestly, more miscommunication would have happened.
Oh, absolutely.
But he told her, and she's just like, you're not telling me we have a good relationship. He tells me things because we are in a relationship.
Exactly. There's no tricking her here. There's no, pinning him against her here because of the communication that they have.
Right. And then, and this is after this fight scene, she ends up going to get some fresh air because I think they were at a karaoke bar, and he meets her in this little sit-down area, and this is one of my favorite scenes. My absolutely favorite scenes in this drama would have to be this scene right here. because I just think it is the most sweetest, simplest scenes or portrayals of love I have ever really seen. Basically, they're sitting down and she realizes that, you know, she knew he had a debt, right? And I think she had forgotten about it or whatever. And so they're sitting down and she pulls out her bank card. And mind you, I did like converting of the yuan to USD and she had like maybe like $400 or $500 on that bank card because her internship doesn't pay that much. And all she does is she gives him her bank card and says, I can be nice to you for life, and that she is serious about this relationship. And I just, again, it was so natural and so 100% sure that left like no doubt in his mind, and I loved it.
Exactly. She's showing him that she can take care of him too. And this just made me love her all the more. Again, I love how open she is with showing her protectiveness and caring towards him. I feel like we don't ever get to see those actions from a female lead, and I'm all here for it because it's incredibly authentic. Women have these feelings towards their partners too. When you love someone, it's only natural to feel this way. It doesn't always have to be the more dominant partner having these feelings, these protective, caring type of feelings. And he deserves to be taken care of too. And I love Zsa for this and for recognizing this too.
And he doesn't get offended, you know? He doesn't get pissed off that she's giving him money because he's the man. He takes the card. He's like, thanks, babe. Thanks. And then he gives her his card.
I know.
And even though he knows that her parents make more than him, and even though he knows that she was kind of spoiled when she was growing up and he may never be able to give her that same life,
he wants to show that
his ego doesn't get hit.
Yeah.
His ego doesn't get hit, and he just takes it. And I love that.
I feel like he wants to show her that he can take care of her too.
I think what I loved about it is it left no doubt in either one of their minds that they like and love each other.
How serious too that they are.
Yeah. And I think that just killed me because I want someone like that so bad that just takes away all the doubt in my mind, you know?
I get it.
And then near the end of that scene, we get to the brother finding out. Okay. To which the brother has every right to be angry. Okay. His best friend is dating his younger sister, and
they hid it from him.
They hid it from him. Yes, they did. And so they have basically like a bro fight, whatever.
So basically they get into they get into a fight. Her brother ends up punching and kicking Xiaoyu. And it is extreme, but I feel like it's justified. I don't feel like he goes over the top. I love and appreciate how well he actually takes this, which I know sounds kind of funny because he was extremely upset. But like we said, those feelings are pretty valid for this situation. He's always been extremely protective of his sister, but I think he quickly realizes that there really isn't anyone else in this world that he would entrust his sister with besides Xiaoyu.
Right, because here's the thing. This is something I never really understood about, like, brothers hating when their best friends date their younger sister. Because I'm just like, you know this person. You're friends with them. If they're such a bad person that you would not want to entrust your own sister with, why the hell are you friends with them?
Well, I think that he also remembers, because it's hinted at, that even though he didn't have time to have a girlfriend, he was a big flirt. Like, they were called both called the twin dogs in their high school because of how flirty and shameless both of them were. So,
okay, yeah, flirting is fine.
Right. I think it just takes him, once he realizes how serious Xiaoyu is, I think that's when things become easier for him.
Right. And yeah, and despite him being a flirt, we've never seen him do anything bad.
No, and he's a great guy. Like, he's respectful, and the fact that he hasn't had a relationship before this one, I think, is very meaningful in itself too, about how serious he's taking that.
I do. I do see that he questions it. He takes his time to question Jayu and try to get the answers he wants. And so they end up making up, very quickly. It was like all of a 20-minute scene where he's angry, realizes they make up, right?
Punch and kicks him, and then proceeds to stay at his place.
Yeah, and then wants his bed, by the way.
Yeah.
But no, it was so cute. And I loved the scene after that where the sister comes and they're trying to like mediate, and then the sister sees that he hurt Jayu, and then she gets pissed at him, and then he gets all hurt.
Because he adores his sister.
And then, I know, but she was really harsh in what she said. She was like, she was going at him. And then when she realized that Jayu also hit him, which I don't remember him hitting.
It happened in the apartment, so they came back, and her brother was kind of feeling bad about how hard he went at him. And he's like, okay, if just to be fair, because she's going to yell at me, you can hit me. And Jayu, I remember because Jayu goes, I've never really hit anyone before. And so her brother's like, come on, it's okay, you can do it. And all of a sudden, he like throws this massive punch at the brother, and it completely takes him off guard because, like Jayu said, he's never hit any.
Oh, yeah.
So it was a really funny scene.
Yeah, I remember that actually, yeah, because then he uses that against her when she's like, yeah, he hit me too. Mm-hmm. And then she went off on Jayu. And it was just honestly just an adorable makeup scene, which I like that they put that in, and I like that they, of sound mind, made him realize that this relationship isn't all bad.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And then moving on from there, we have, I guess the next big scene I want to talk about is I don't know if this is like the second or third confession scene.
Technically the third. This is like the third. Yeah, the third confession, because they also confess their like love or like for each other in another scene, which we didn't end up putting in this podcast, where they actually say like I like you too type of thing. So this is technically the third confession.
So this one's at the airport, and I actually prefer this one because, just because I think it's the most emotionally, gut-wrenching one that we have out of all the confessions. Honestly, this one takes place at the airport, the same airport that she landed at all those years prior to, 2 years before, where she went to confirm if Jayu had a girlfriend or not, way back when.
Yeah, it's like it's coming full circle now.
Exactly. And this scene never fails to make me cry. Seriously, I've had to watch it at least 4 or 5 times now, and have cried every single time. And the way he looks at her while she hands him the little paper star wishes she made when she was just a teen, and how he finds them so incredibly precious that he gets choked up. And we even see his hands trembling as he folds the folded paper in his hands. And that's what, like, this stuff is what sold this scene for me and made it so much, all the more real. Is like, we literally see the tears forming in his eyes. We literally see his hands shaking with the amount of emotion he's feeling right in this moment. And if he thought he was deep in love with her before, this just seals the deal for him. We can see just, again, he's incredibly moved by her and this vast love that she has for him. And honestly, this one scene encompasses all the reasons why I love this drama.
I completely agree, because I think what I, again, love about this drama, and it's specifically this drama, because I don't remember very many dramas that do this, is I feel like people overcomplicate love nowadays. I feel like they have to do like a big proposal or a big confession or something over the top, when really love is just very simple, everyday things. And her writing those notes, showing him that she loves him in the most simplest of ways, and how she can be so vulnerable, because it does take a lot to show those feelings to somebody.
Simple yet powerful.
Yeah, it really is. And she does it without even realizing how powerful it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like, remember in Bad Buddy when Pat does little things that make him kind of like unknowingly reassures Pran.
Yeah.
In the best way. And this is what she does. She reassures him and basically makes him feel confident in her love by doing the most simplest of things that mean just so much. And you don't get that. You don't get that simplicity in love anymore.
Right.
You know what I
mean? I 1000% agree with you. And I also think that is why I love this drama so much, to be honest with you.
Right.
But I mean, even speaking of, that ties right in with the proposal and how they do the proposal. Like, it's not something crazy grand. Like, I feel like it's not like he's just whipping out a ring and saying, "Here you go." I mean, they put thought and effort into it, but it's not crazy out there. You know what I mean?
Right. So let's discuss the proposal scene, because it was so
perfect.
cute. But like, I'm gonna be honest. They tricked me the first time I watched this.
Girl, same.
I really thought that the other couple was gonna get married. Like, it was. They made it work, right? And then when he comes out with the flowers and her family's there, and he's crying. Okay, you don't get married men crying like that.
I know.
He's proposing to the love of his life. Then you see him in love, and he's just like, "You say yes, you're going to be my wife."
It was the absolute cutest ending, and I couldn't be happier with it. I love how her friends made her believe that they were setting up a proposal for one of the other friends. I even love the fact that she helped stage the scene. Like, she helped draw the heart in the sand and set the flowers up to make the heart shape. And also, as a side note, I love how he didn't even waste a minute to propose to her after she graduated. That, and the fact that her family was there was just icing on the cake.
You're right. Boy didn't even hesitate. Okay, he was just like, "She graduated. I'm on that." It was so cute, and it was natural. Like, it wasn't like a forced happy ending. It wasn't like they time skipped 3 years and now they're married and have kids. Right. Like, no, like, we see them getting engaged, and I was happy with that ending. I was completely and utterly happy. So it did feel completely like closure to it, you know?
And so that's basically the wrap on Hidden Love. What are some of your closing thoughts, Leo?
We have to discuss this. The OST for the drama. I favored all the songs. I really need to just create a playlist for all my favorite OSTs. But, guys, I found this out, and I don't know if anyone else did, but so the actor who plays the brother, Sang-yeon, also is a singer, okay? And he actually sings one of the songs in the drama. I think it's called Be My Light or Be Your Light. And I was like, damn, he's got a good voice. I gotta go see if he made any other ones, right? Homeboy's got an album out, all right? And it's good. I mean, most of it's in Chinese, actually. All of it's in Chinese, except for like one song, Play It Cool, which I'm in love with. But he's got a freaking great voice. And I love it.
Honestly, listeners, if you definitely got to check him out. I've been listening to like several of his songs that you sent me.
Oh my god, he's cute and he sings.
I know, right? I want to see him in more dramas. I do.
Me too. I would watch it in a heartbeat. I can't.
But that being said, overall, what would be your rating for this drama?
So, I want to give it a 10 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give it a 10 out of 10 because of just how cute and semi-realistic this drama was. We know the guy's a walking green flag. That never happens in real life. I get that. But I think what I love is they build a relationship together. They actually get to know each other, and we see them getting to know each other. And it wasn't just love at first sight. It was a slow building relationship that can last, you know? And we get those scenes. We get the cute scenes. I love the cute scenes.
I know. And no question, I agree. 10 out of 10. I loved everything about this drama, everything you just listed, including the casting, the chemistry, the storyline, all of it. This is literally a drama I can watch over and over again, have watched over and over again, and still have not got sick talking about.
Right. Yeah, it was a good one. And that's a wrap up of Hidden Love. Thank you all for tuning in. Please go follow us on Instagram, and we actually just made a new Patreon that is completely free. We just wanted you guys to have a place where you can write your comments in if you guys want to add in your favorite scenes or discuss anything we talked about in the drama over on our Patreon as well. So all the links are in the description if you want to go check that out. We would love to grow this drama addicted family. So, Courtney, what are we watching next?
The next drama we're going to be talking about is the Thai drama, The Sign. The gods are back, and they have never looked so hot. Go watch it on YouTube. Until next time, happy drama watching. Bye.